So, I went to go see Joker this last weekend. And yeah, it was pretty fantastic. If you were to ask me what I felt a Joker origin film should be, this is pretty much exactly what I would want it to be. This is actually nothing like a typical comic book film, and is actually a slow-paced and mature character study that seeks to clearly illustrate the mental deterioration of an already mentally damaged human being. The gradual evolution that this character takes is done so perfectly. It honestly doesn't feel at all like there was ever a moment where the character goes off the deep end too quickly. It all just feels so natural. The struggles and fears of this character are conveyed very clearly to the audience, making it so you can easily understand the rationale behind his heinous acts. Joaquin Phoenix is absolutely hypnotizing in this film as the titular character. It's clear he puts so much effort into making this iteration of the character come alive, and he absolutely disappears in the role. And while the versions of the characters are completely different from each other, I think this one is, and I can't believe I'm saying this, actually better than Heath Ledger's Joker. Namely because this is a Joker that we can identify with and even to a certain extent sympathize with, while still being absolutely terrifying. He delivers not only the performance of the year, but it's in the running for the performance of the decade. It's that good. One of the things that really struck me was the film's statements about the relationship between society and mental health. It warns about the dangers of a complacent and self-aggrandizing society and the role that other people may have in creating monsters. Given some of the subject material that's in this film, I'm honestly shocked that Warner Brothers agreed to release the film as is, especially when you consider that the film really taps into the political zeitgeist of contemporary United States. It honestly does feel like this film is acting as a cautionary tale to what happens to a society when people just don't seem to care about anything anymore, like the plight of their fellow man. When a society becomes too nihilistic and uncaring, a Joker-type figure emerging from the shadows seems practically inevitable, and this movie serves as a looming warning to that very thing. This is a dark and grim film, and it doesn't feel purposeless in its incessant bleakness. This is a film that'll really get under your skin and burrow there. The violence in this film is used sparingly and thus to great effect. The film is beautifully shot, its composition is handled so perfectly that it allows itself to be open to interpretation, the dialogue is incredible, and this film is a masterclass in show don't tell. There are just so many memorable moments that'll stick out in the viewer's mind, including both its perfect opening scene and closing scene. I also love this film's interpretation of the Joker's laugh. I just found it so horribly tragic and sad. It's a film that'll stick with you long after it's over, and it begs repeat viewings. It's an excellent companion piece to the Batman mythos, and it's also an excellent standalone film that can exist in a vacuum. Any complaints that I have are incredibly minor. Like, there are definite similarities to both Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy, which is a little distracting, but I would make the argument that because it goes in a completely different direction than either of those films, it doesn't feel like a rehash. Overall, Joker is a mesmerizing film. This is a film that I desperately want to see again as soon as possible. It's just so powerful and haunting. It's one of the rare studio films that just feels so daring that you honestly can't believe that this is a studio film at all. So yeah, I do consider Joker to be a masterpiece. I can't quite pinpoint where exactly I would rank it among my favorite films ever until I rewatch it, but I definitely think it's up there. This is so far the best film of 2019, and I think a film that'll really stick with people and have a lasting impact. The direction is great, Joaquin Phoenix is brilliant, and it's, in my opinion, a nearly perfect film. I will warn you though, this film isn't for everyone. I mean, this is one of the bleakest films I've ever seen in my life. This is not a feel-good movie at all. If you don't think you can handle it, then it's probably for the best to stay at home for this one. But if you do think you can handle it, I absolutely recommend that you check this one out as soon as possible.